You are 32 years old. Your salary arrives on Friday. By Tuesday, most of it is gone. The rent, the groceries, the subscriptions, the car payment, the small purchases you don't even remember making. You tell yourself the same thing you told yourself last year. When I earn more, I'll start investing. But deep down, you know something uncomfortable. You said the same thing at 27 and 29 and 31 because life has a strange way of expanding to consume every raise you receive. The bigger apartment, the newer phone, the better vacations, the upgraded version of normal. Then one night, something changes. You open your banking app, not to spend, not to check if you can afford something, but to ask a different question. What if I paid my future self first? So the next month you do something small. You invest $200. Not because it will make you rich, because you want proof that your future matters. The number feels insignificant, almost embarrassing. $200 won't change your life. But habits rarely announce their importance when they begin. The following month, you do it again. Then again, then again. 3 months later, the amount is still small. But something else is growing. Evidence. Evidence that maybe you are becoming the kind of person who builds wealth. And identity changes faster than money ever does. At first, nothing feels different. Your portfolio is tiny. The numbers barely move. Some days the market goes up. Some days it goes down. Most days it does absolutely nothing. You check the app, $20 gained, $15 lost, $8 gained, $12 lost. It feels meaningless because your brain is still thinking like an employee. Employees are paid for effort. Investors are paid for patience. And patience feels invisible in the beginning. Then one day something strange happens. Your investments earn money while you're asleep. Not much. Maybe $7. Maybe 12. Maybe 23. The amount doesn't matter. The principle does. Because for the first time in your life, money worked while you didn't. That changes people. You start looking at spending differently. Every unnecessary purchase has a hidden cost now. Not what it costs today. What it could have become tomorrow. The $300 phone upgrade. The $500 weekend trip. The expensive impulse purchase. For the first time, you see the future version of that money. And once you see it, it's difficult to unsee. Because wealth building isn't about becoming rich quickly. It's about teaching money to stop depending on your time to exist. And that lesson changes everything. At 35, something unusual happens. Your investments are still not life-changing, but your stress levels are. 3 years ago, an unexpected expense could ruin your month. Now it ruins your mood. And those are very different things. The emergency fund exists. The investments exist. The system exists. For the first time, life feels less fragile. You stop checking your bank account before buying groceries. You stop calculating how many days remain until payday. You stop treating every expense like a personal attack. Because wealth doesn't arrive all at once. It arrives quietly, as smaller reactions, better sleep, less panic, fewer arguments about money. Then one day you notice something strange. You are no longer investing because you're disciplined. You're investing because not investing feels strange. The habit has changed sides. For years, spending was automatic. Saving required effort. Now saving is automatic. And wasting money requires effort. This is when wealth building becomes dangerous. Not dangerous to you. Dangerous to the version of you that believed financial freedom belonged to other people because the evidence says otherwise. The portfolio says otherwise. The habits say otherwise. And for the first time, your future looks bigger than your next paycheck. At 38, the numbers finally start becoming noticeable. Not impressive. Noticeable. The portfolio that once moved by $10 a day now moves by 100. Some months more. Some months less. But something important has changed. Your contributions are no longer doing all the work. Your past decisions have joined the team. The money you invested at 32 is now investing alongside you. For years, it felt like pushing a car uphill. Every dollar required effort. Every deposit required discipline. Now gravity starts helping. Compounding is strange like that. For a long time, it looks broken. Then suddenly it looks unfair. The people around you don't understand what they're seeing. They think you became lucky. They think you found a secret. But there was no secret. Only time. Because the money wasn't growing quickly. It was growing quietly. While you were working, sleeping, traveling, living. This is the moment most people finally understand investing. Not when they read about it. When they witness it. Because seeing your money earn more in a month than you once saved in a month changes the way you see the future. The mountain is still there, but for the first time, it feels like it's moving toward you too. At 42, people start asking different questions. What do you do? How did you do it? What's your secret? They assume there was a shortcut, a lucky investment, a perfect stock, a business that exploded overnight. But wealth rarely arrives dramatically. It arrives quietly, through ordinary decisions repeated for extraordinary lengths of time, the monthly investment, the smaller house than you could afford, the car you kept for 5 extra years, the raises you invested instead of spending. None of those decisions felt important when you made them. That's the strange thing about compounding. It hides its rewards until people stop paying attention. Then, suddenly, everyone notices at once. By now, your investments don't just generate money. They generate options. The option to work less, the option to change careers, the option to say no, the option to protect your family from uncertainty. Because the purpose of wealth was never luxury. Luxury is expensive to maintain. Freedom isn't. For years, you thought wealth meant expensive watches, luxury cars, large houses. Then one day you realize wealth looks very different. Wealth looks like sleeping peacefully. Wealth looks like time. Wealth looks like choice. And choice is one of the few things money can actually buy. Then one day you wake up and realize something strange. You are no longer building wealth. Wealth is building itself. Not completely. Not yet. But enough to change the conversation. The dividends arrive. The investments continue growing. The assets continue working, even on the days you don't. For most of your life, money only existed when you were working for it. Now, for the first time, some of it works for you. That changes the way you see your future. Retirement stops feeling like an impossible fantasy. Career changes stop feeling reckless. Time off stops feeling irresponsible. Because the biggest difference between wealthy people and everyone else isn't intelligence. It isn't luck. It's ownership. Ownership of assets. Ownership of investments. Ownership of time. And time is the most valuable asset of all. At 30, you thought wealth meant becoming rich. At 45, you understand something different. Wealth is not having to make decisions from fear. It's being able to say no. It's being able to wait. It's being able to choose. Because freedom is expensive to buy. But once you own it, it's surprisingly cheap to keep. Then one day someone asks you when everything changed. They expect you to mention a promotion, a business, a lucky investment. But the real answer is much quieter. It changed the month you started investing before you felt ready. The month you stopped waiting for perfect conditions. The month you decided your future deserved a percentage of your present. Because wealth doesn't begin with money. It begins with identity. The identity of someone who believes tomorrow matters. And once that person exists, the numbers eventually catch up. Because in the end, building wealth in your 30s was never about becoming rich. It was about becoming free.